Good day, the Systems United. Doing more photography and film restoration. So here we go. We're just going to jump right in. This is the image. It looks similar to the image I did this morning, but it's a different image, slightly different exposure, and slightly different angle. And they were both good images, but the last one took a little while to do, so we'll see how long this one takes to do. So here we go. And yeah, this one. Already there's a lot of work to do. Today was kind of eventful. And I'm not going to be talking that much for this stream. But I'll keep the microphone on. And I ran 2 errands, and they were both pretty painless. I got something in the mail. I forgot what it was. Well, I'm getting more advertisement for different colleges. They really want me now. According to them, I already graduated, which is funny because I haven't. I told you guys the good news that I got accepted into this one class, an independent study. So in the next 2 months from now, I should be graduated. So that's nice. I can't wait for that to happen. And yeah, pretty much. I was working on Project Newfoundland all day today. I didn't think it would take all day. Yesterday I wrote the first third of the script, of the narration, and it took a long time. It took like 3 hours to write the first third. I had already had the information and the sources all picked out, but it just took a long time, like compiling it. There was a lot of really specific names and things I had to get right, and yeah, so that was yesterday. It was a pain, and so in between writing, I would take a break, and by break I mean I would like go work outside and do gardening, and then I'd come back in 2 hours later and write some more. And I don't know, it's just when I had the idea for what I wanted to write, the idea seemed good, and then sitting down and getting all the facts and everything, that part was easy, but for some reason it was more difficult to write. And I think it was just because I had to go back and verify over and over again the different sources and everything. But this definitely was one of the ones I enjoyed researching the most. So that will this episode that I just wrote, it will be coming to Patreon. It should be the first if everything goes all right, rendering it, but it will definitely be within the first couple of days of May. And live to tape, that episode is coming to Patreon very soon, around the 1st of May as well. And there was something else. Oh, I recorded So I finished writing the script today, and then actually right before this, I recorded it. So the narration's done. Tomorrow, well, I was gonna edit the audio tonight, but I just don't have that much energy left. I'm pretty much doing this, the film editing, because one, it needs to get done, but two, it's really kind of therapeutic for me for some reason. It's just like really enjoyable doing like this digital drawing. I guess it's like the same, kind of the same effect how they have those adult coloring books, where you can just kind of sketch and as a form of relaxation. That's kind of how I feel, I guess, when I do this film restoration. So yeah, so Project Newfoundland, the audio is recorded, and I've copied it, and I just have to edit out all the mistakes I made. It was a little difficult reading, and not because of the way it was, well, because it's like, just because of the type of the words that were used. They were like a lot of syllables and everything, and some of it was like involved like mythology and everything, so the names are like nothing like the names we had to pronounce today. And so I kept getting tripped up on the pronunciations of the different names. And I'm hoping I got it right, but we'll see. Just going to... I'm already enjoying this a lot. Just removing all these spots. And there's a lot of them. Oh, the other thing about recording the audio, I don't know, I was able to get the room really quiet and everything. I recorded in the basement, but it's not a basement with like concrete walls. The walls are they're kind of well padded with wood and everything, so the reverb is okay. And when I record Project Newfoundland in live to tape, I turn all the electronics off, all the computers, everything goes off, and then I record from my mixer, which is the same one I'm using now. I record into my test cam, which is a personal recorder. It's battery powered, and it's solid state, so there's no electronic interference or just sounds of fans and everything. And for some reason there was this weird, it was like this weird click in the room, and it wasn't quite like it didn't come around like every 30 seconds or so. It wasn't rhythmic, but it was just like, it was just enough to where, and loud enough to where I had to keep stopping and record and reading the lines over and over again. So that part was annoying. And then there was this airplane flying overhead, and I don't know what it was doing, but it was like flying over forever. Just, I was like, oh my goodness. And I was just waiting for it to pass, but it took a long time. luckily I wasn't driving today. I did my errands with my mom. Well, technically they were her errands. I was just going along for the ride. But something weird happened where I started just getting extremely dizzy. Like, really. It just felt like the world was spinning and everything while we were driving. I was like, oh no, am I sick? But it went away. I don't know what it was from. Because yesterday it was fine. I mean, in fact, I spent a lot of time testing out some 360 videos and everything with my VR goggles. They're not fancy. They're just the VR goggles for the smartphone. And yes, if I was gonna be dizzy, yeah, I would have thought it would have been yesterday when I was testing all that stuff out. But nope. And I'm not going to be doing a lot of live streams in May. It's not that I'm taking a break. I'll do a couple. But it's not going to be like I've been doing it for the past couple of weeks where I've been streaming almost every day. There's going to be like a week, there's going to be like a week where I'm absent. And so I'll be doing reruns. I'm leaving to take some photos and work on another project. So that's going to take up all the time. this is much more smooth and easier to do than Photoshop's been allowing me for the past couple of days. It turned out to be my fault, but I'm really enjoying how lag-free it is this time. And this photograph, it's in Venice, Italy. That's why all the boats are here. I'm trying to remember how to pronounce the name of the island. It's not part of the main island. It's like Malena or Malona. It's an island in Venice that's mainly they're known for their glass work, so things like fused glass and sculpted glass and like glass blowing and things like that. In my youth, I used to do a lot of fused glass, and it's fun and interesting to do, but I don't understand how people can make money at it. I mean, like, fused glass is really, it's like, it looks good and everything, and there's no sort of shortage of people that buy it, but the amount of money it costs to buy the different colors of glass, you have to buy them in sheets, and there's like several different types of glass you can get, but you get it by you group it by the heat coefficients, and so some are like, they have the different ratings, and so you can only mix the glass with the same rating. It's like some are 90, some are 120, and so those are like the different points at which the glass melts. And so you can't mix two glasses that have two different melting points, and it is a special type of glass that you use. It's a higher quality glass, but it's expensive. So I never understand how, like, if you go to the art shows or look on Etsy, I don't know how they're able to get the prices of the things that they're selling so low, and like still making a profit. Because like I could go and make the same exact thing, making jewelry or anything, but it would just cost a lot more, because I'd have to pay so much for the supplies. And so, but yeah, I've done a few projects doing fused glass. I made a 3-piece sculpture for a school project. It was a sculpture that was supposed to represent kind of the 3 levels in the Dante's story. So there was heaven, purgatory, and hell. And I was really happy. One, I was glad I was able to do it for the school project, because I had no idea what I was going to do. And it was one of the things that, like, there were tests and essays you had to write for the class, but like 100% of the grade was the final project. And essentially the students could do anything they wanted for the final project, but it was like, it had to be of like high quality. And so it was kind of relatively late, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And there were some other issues at the time as well. So finally I went to my mom and was like, can I do a fused glass project? And she was like, yeah. She's the one who taught me how to do fused glass. And I worked up a design and started cutting the glass. And I was able to, get it done before the project. And everyone was like blown away because they didn't know that I knew how to do fused glass at the size that I did the project. I might post the pictures of it. And fused glass, what you do is you take like different colors of glass, and then you layer them up, and then and you cut them up to like the different shapes and everything you want, and you kind of stack them on top of each other in the orientation you want, and then you essentially put it in a kiln, which is a fancy oven that gets extremely hot, and it melts the glass all together. And so you don't really have control of where the glass falls or how it melts together. It just kind of blends. But for whatever reason, fused glass, the glass always wants to be 1/4 of an inch thick. So you could stack like 3 inches of glass on top of each other, but when it melts, even though you stacked 3 inches of glass, it will naturally try to compress to 1/4 of an inch. And so yeah, it was lucky that I was able to do that. So I passed the class, and everyone was like, I don't know, they were like really surprised for some reason. The school that I went to, the curriculum was really heavy in the arts. And I don't know, I was always kind of like a medium level art experience. I mean, like, I've done a ton of art through elementary school and everything, but I wasn't like a great drawer. I wasn't great at sculpture. And I was always a good photographer though. And yeah, so people were like really surprised. They were like, "You knew how to do this?" And I was like, "Yep." And it's funny because the other project I did for my first girlfriend, I was like, we started dating in November, I think, of freshman year. And so that was like just in time for the holiday season. And so for our first Christmas, I made a fused glass project, and I used a dichroic glass, which is a glass that's really iridescent. It's like the kind I used was this dark shade of blue, but it's extremely shiny. And then I took this acid And with dichroic glass, it's only the top layer that is really shiny. And so I took this acid. Well, first I put a sticker with her first initial onto the dichroic glass, onto the shiny side. And then I poured this acid over the sticker and all around the surface of the glass. So what that did is it ate away at the dichroic of everywhere except for what was under the sticker. And so it was really cool because it was a print of it was a perfect imprint of her first initial, but it was just in dichroic. So it was this dark, really shiny blue, really reflective. And then I made 2 of them in case one fails, because a lot of times when you're making projects with fused glass, like if something happens to the kiln or it reaches the wrong temperature or there's problems with the glass you're using, like it will crack and kind of explode, or you can get like air bubbles in your design. And so I made 2 of them and I kind of baked them at the same time. And the kiln that we were using was the kind of fancier ones where you can program in the temperature and it changes the temperature based at how long it's been cooking. And so with fused glass, you have to slowly raise the temperature to a certain degree. Then you stay there for like 2 hours, and then you go even higher, and then you stay there for like 1 hour. And then you have to do this process of blasting where you do a rapid drop. So you go from like 2000 degrees and you have to get down to like 900 degrees. And so at this time I didn't have a fancy kiln that you could program in. You had to do all the heating yourself. So you raised it to the certain temperature and then you lower it and you just set your timer. And then it was time to do the blasting, which the temperature blasting, which was taking it from really high degree and to a lot lower. And so that's the part where usually because the glass is essentially molten at that point and you're trying to harden it, and you have to harden it kind of quickly. And so the only way to do that is to actually open up the kiln and let all the hot air out. And so that's when the glass can crack, is when it hits the cold air. So you have to do it kind of slowly. And so then I had to put on these special gloves that I thought were flame retardant, like 100%. But it turned out that they are gloves used for working with the kiln, but they're only flame resistant. They're not 100% flame retardant. And so I'm opening the kiln and I'm letting all the hot air out, and then it's really hot air. And then my glove catches on fire. I'm like, oh no, my glove's on fire. I mean, my hand was okay, but you can't stop the temperature change, or else you go lose what you're working on. So while my glove was on fire, I was like, I have to keep going. And so my mom had the timer and it was like I had to do it for 30 seconds. And then so my hand was on fire for that. It was like 30 seconds, and then I got it to the right temperature and closed it, and then quickly put the fire out that was on my hand. And so I was reminded my first girlfriend. I was like, I lit myself on fire for you, blah blah blah. She thought that was funny. This part's taking a long time, but we're almost done with this image. After I complete it, I'm going to take a short break, and then I'll be back. All of a sudden my hand got really cold. I don't know why. I guess it kind of feels like it's falling asleep. I don't know. But it's like it's not close to falling asleep. It's a really weird sensation. Okay, we're gonna go over here. And again, this is a similar image to the one I was working on before. It's a slightly different angle and a little different exposure. I like this image a little bit better than the last one. I was debating of whether I was going to edit it or not, since they were so close. So we're coming to almost done with it. This image. I'll open up the next image before I leave, so you people can look at it. Okay, we're almost done. But there's a lot more work has to be done in this last corner. Yes, and there's all this. I know this last corner kind of creeps me out a little bit. All these little dots. There's certain patterns I really don't like. And kind of this pattern of speckle is one of them. I'm just kind of smudging them to get rid of them. Okay. So this is the image. I accidentally lost the last image I did. It turns out I accidentally saved it into the Dropbox. So that was like, oh, I couldn't find it, and I was like, I'm sure I worked on this other one, because what I do is I save the copy and then so I have the original one. And then I have the one I edited next to it, and I was like, oh, I know I worked on it, but okay. So this is the new image we're going to be using. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And this image is it's in Florence. This is on top of the Duomo, and it's looking out into the city of Florence down below. And this is part of the same cathedral, and down here, and you can't see it, but I'm actually on top of the dome. So let's get into editing it. And just one dot at a time. This is probably going to be the last image for tonight. I'm trying to get to bed at a reasonable time. I keep falling asleep around like 3 in the morning, and it's starting the cycle of I'm like really tired in the morning, and I end up drinking a lot more caffeine, and then night comes and I still have the caffeine in my system because I was so tired from the night before. So I'm trying to stop that. Like today I had my coffee in the morning, and then I had one cup of green tea, and that was it. Usually I drink like a cup of green tea and kind of the mid-morning, and then in the afternoon, and once at dinner. So I am trying to cut down on the amount of caffeine I drink. I've changed how much coffee I drink, and that has helped immensely. So this image is moving along faster. Not as many things I need to fix. Okay, we're about a third of the way done. And this is, just to give some background, this is medium format film. So what that means is the film size is over double the size of 35 millimeter film, or a 35 millimeter digital camera. And so because the size of the film is so much larger, you get a lot more detail, and it's a higher quality image. You get a wider range of shades, tints, and tones. Not just in black and white photography, but also with color. And then with the kind of the change in size of the film, the lens scales are a little bit different. So where if you had a 35 millimeter camera, an 80 millimeter lens, it's very much considered a telephoto lens. But with medium format, because the film is so much larger, it automatically makes kind of the lens angles more wide, and so an 80 millimeter lens for a medium format camera is actually, it's more like it's more wide angle. It's closer to around a 40 millimeter equivalent of a lens for a 35 millimeter camera. And so an 80 millimeter lens for medium format is like, it's a good all-purpose lens. It's not wide enough that it makes everything small. It's just right. And so it's the only lens I own for medium format. So I'll work around it using just the 80 millimeter, and it's 80 millimeter with a f-stop of 2.8. And this is film. I've scanned it in, and the image scan is about 70 megapixels. So it's significantly higher quality than digital. They do make the camera I use is called a Hasselblad. It's the 500C. The camera was built in like 1969. It's the same kind of camera that took photos on the moon with the astronauts. And yeah. And so I still do shoot on film, but not as much as I used to. I used to develop the film myself. This image was one that all the Italy medium format photographs, I developed the film. I did prints and developed those in the darkroom. And I have essentially a whole stack of them that I'm getting ready to frame and sell. Yeah, we're over halfway done. And after this image, I'm going to call it quits. And probably see you guys tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to stream. I'll probably stream later in the day. Like late afternoon, but before nighttime. I pretty much stream whenever I have time. My hand has started to fall asleep, so it's good for almost done. Needs to wake up. That's probably why it started feeling kind of colder. And now we just do the bottom. It looks like we're going to be done. Now this image went by really fast. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to show you the image. There you go. This is the image. And this is in Florence, Italy. So I want to thank you guys for coming to this late night stream. It's about 11 o'clock. I will probably see, I'll be streaming tomorrow. Probably the same thing. I might be streaming live to tape content, but it might be a mixture of both. It pretty much depends on what finishes rendering. So thanks for tuning in. Bye bye.